So why don't we get started since I anticipate that our speaker will come at 9:15, so we might as well just go for it. Nope, wrong one. Oh my God. Okay, good. There we go.
Yes.
Okay, Ron.
Yes,
Good morning, Ron. How are you?
I'm just getting my audio set up
Okay.
here. How do I make it louder? That'll make it louder. That made it louder.
Just let us know when you're ready. I have you first on the agenda with welcome and introductions.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Just let us know when you're ready. I have you
Oh, I
first.
see. That was the word I didn't get. Let us know when I'm ready. Okay.
Yes.
Well, let's see here. So let me see who's actually, whoa. Let me see here. Gallery. Side by side gallery. Oh, there are people. I only saw you. So, okay. Well, I think we got it. Oh, I don't have my video turned on. Let's turn on my video. Hey, there we go. Get some light on. Okay, that's a little bit better. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the monthly installment of the Amateur Radio Club of Alameda. I am currently acting president, meaning that I'm going to keep trying it till I get it right. I don't have much to say today other than to let you know that the first weekend in October is the California QSO party. And now is the time to be thinking of a place to do it, because we ran it at the California Historical Radio Society, and the location physically was great, but the electronic noise from all their stuff there was horrible. So it's probably not going to be a location to repeat, which, by the way, California Historical Radio Society today is having Radio Day. So if you've got nothing better to do, go over to their location on Central Avenue. After we're done here, I'm going into my office, and then I'm going to wander over and I'll wear my badge. I found my president's badge, so I can kind of mention us. And that's basically it. I'm excited to meet Tim Duffy. I know a lot about him. His call sign is he's got one of the biggest contest stations in the world. And he's been doing a lot of work with youth radio sport contesters, young people that want to come on up and learn how to do it. So I can't wait to hear what he has to say to us this morning. It should be a lot of fun. And let me turn it to our secretary to take care of whatever business we have to take care of.
So generally we go around the room and introduce ourselves. So I can start that off. My name is Donna Fong. I'm the ARCA secretary. I'm KM6QEK. I've been licensed since, I don't know, about 2017, I guess, maybe 18. Jean. Oh, you want to unmute yourself, Jean? Jean, would you like to unmute yourself? Oh, why don't we move to Jerry?
Hello, Jerry Jahala, KT6CRT, been licensed since 2010.
Okay, I think Jean, you can go now.
Hi, I'm Gene Dashiell. I've been licensed since 1958, maybe, as a novice in Alameda.
Bob?
My name is Bob Gill. I recently got my general. I had my technician back in 2011. My call sign is KJ6SGZ. I'm also involved in local CERT group on GRMS Radio Net, and I'm looking now to get a big station radio going.
Thanks, Bob. Dan?
Yeah, hi, I'm Dan, KG6YZF. Been a ham since 2008, but really just have become active recently, the last 3-4 years. Right now, I'm moving into HF, and I just set up a base station with a lot of help from Roger, if he's out there, and getting ready to actually get into the HF band very soon, including CW.
Great. And Dan is also our treasurer. Michael John?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear
Okay.
you.
Michael John, KF6YRG. Been a member of ARCA for many years. Okay.
Rose?
Sorry, K6LEZ. I'm just getting over COVID, so my voice is kind of bad. But I've been licensed since 2010.
Well, I hope you feel better, Rose.
Yeah,
Let us know if you need a chicken soup delivery or something.
thank you. I've been making my own all week.
Okay, excellent. Charles Smith.
Hi, Charles Smith, KN6OPA. I got my license in 2021. I still don't know how to use my radio. I can use Zoom though, sometimes.
Well, there's plenty of us here to help you. So feel free to reach out to me through email and we can get you an Elmer or somebody to introduce the wonderful world of ham radio. You can also, do net control on Thursdays as well. We do that every Thursday just to feel what it's like. It's big and scary initially, and then it's easy after that.
No, I've listened multiple times and I've
Okay.
tried to join in, but I can't make my thing talk.
Oh, well, we can give you a thing to talk.
Yeah, we'll work it out. This isn't. I'm sure this isn't the scope of this meeting.
Okay, very good.
Charles, I'm sorry, just a quick question. What kind of a handheld do you have? What brand?
Bow Bang.
Baofeng.
Okay, I have had lots of Baofangs, and I've pretty much done everything you can with them. I'd be glad to give you some
That's a hard
information. We
one
can
to
maybe make contact later.
Fantastic. If you don't mind, could you put your phone number in the chat for me?
I'll tell you what, if you got a pen, I'll give it to you right now. Did you have a pen with you?
Yep, I'm ready.
It's 510-410-7228.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Give me a call and I'll be glad to help you out.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Eve?
Hi, I'm more active with the Oakland group. I haven't been to one of these meetings in a while. It's nice to be back. I've got my general, but since I live in an apartment, that's kind of just frustrating. But I got to do some HF at Field Day, which was great. I camped out up in the arena and learned a lot. And I picked up a GMRS radio recently, which I haven't done anything with yet. Back to you.
Thank you, Eve. Linda.
Hi, I'm Linda Sajang, and my call sign is KM6TAJ, and I've been trying to just check in on the Wednesday check-ins. And thanks to Rose for helping me whenever I have questions of getting on. And thanks to Jerry for sending out the email about this meeting, which I just read about around 9 o'clock. Thanks.
Great. Welcome, Linda. It's good to see you. Anthony DeSalvo.
Good morning. Yes, I'm Anthony DeSalvo, Kilo India 6, Tango Zebra Golf. I've had my license now for about 15 years. Thank you.
It's good to see you, Anthony. I think that you were the person that I was following during the 4th of July parade. Is that correct?
Quite possibly. I was in the purple T-shirt. I was with the purple T-shirts.
Yes, excellent. I was driving the cert van. Call-in user number 1. Did you want to introduce yourself? Or if Terry, I see that Terry is trying to connect, but we can move on. Jerry, do you want to see if we can't fill out the net control operator schedule?
Okay, looks like we have the first 2 weeks of August available. I will be out of town, and I know Carmen and Dean are out of town. That's why they chose the last 2 weeks. So if anyone's available for the first 2 weeks, the first one will be on both repeaters, and the second one will be on Arca repeater and then simplex. So if anyone's available, you can let me know now. We can add your name here, or if not, then we'll harass you via email later and see if anyone's available. We'll jump in and do the August 4th. That's also my birthday, by the way, August 4th. So I'll be out of town.
I can't do the first 2 weeks because I'm actually out of town.
Okay, well, if we don't get anybody today, then we'll pick up, we'll send an email and see if we can get some other people. I know Hugo sometimes is able to do it as well. And Hank, what about anyone available in September the 8th or the 22nd at this time? Anyone? Maybe we can get Linda to do one of those. Okay, well, I'll send an email later and see if we can get those picked up before I go on vacation.
Okay, very good. So I'll go through this quickly. The ARCA equipment has been passed to me from Dan. I currently hold the antennas, the coax cables, filters, banners, etc. The new website is launched. If you go to the website now, you'll see that it's got a calendar, has repeater information, blogs and registration information. We have fully paid Elias Benjaloon of TechStars the full amount for his work, which is at a greatly reduced price. Members should consider registering on the new website. What that will do is it won't allow you any more access. People have full access, but it will make it easier on me, the secretary, to contact you whenever I need to. It actually populates a field. Members will also be able to blog on our website should you want to blog about ham radio. So Jean and I have full access to the website, and we are currently acting as interim webmasters. If you know of anybody else interested in acting in that capacity that are more likely to be capable as web people, IT people, we would welcome more involvement. We had a silent key for Brian Garlington, a former member. He passed away June 22nd. He did leave the membership at the end of 2021 because he moved, but I do remember him because his call sign was very similar to mine. I'm KM6QEK. He is KM6. He was KM6QQK. So I wanted to make an announcement that there will be a celebration of life for him. I've been in communication with his parents that understood very well how much he loved ham radio. We both got our license in 2018, and within a very short period of time, he was amateur extra, or is that expert? The highest level that you can be. So a celebration of life will be held for him. He is the son of George and Sharon Garlington, and that ceremony will be at Shiloh Baptist Church in Vacaville. The date of that memorial celebration will be Thursday. That's this coming Thursday, July 28th at 11 o'clock. And a committal will follow at the Sacramento Valley Veteran Cemetery in Dixon. And then there will be a repast.
May I ask a question about that?
Yes.
I think you and I and he were all in the same class. I remember getting,
Oh, really?
yeah, and I was really shocked. Do you happen to know what happened to him?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not. But Peter might know if you know him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peter's going to be at the ceremony on Thursday.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. So is Tim Duffy online? Are you the call-in user, Tim? May I ask who the call-in user is? Hang on. Let me stop sharing. I don't see the speaker on the line. Let's see. So
Are they in a waiting room or anything? Are they stuck someplace?
that's a good question.
I don't think so, but no one else had to be let in, did they?
And the only way that I could contact him was through his admin, who confirmed today's date.
And they knew Pacific time, right?
Yeah, they should.
He's, I believe, in Western Pennsylvania, so that would put him 3 hours ahead of us.
Yeah.
Who is our call-in user?
I don't know. I can't say.
It doesn't show.
So what I'm doing now is I'm just Googling super fast to see if I can't find any contact information. If somebody can do Facebook and see if he's there, that would help me because I can't do that.
Am I on?
You're on.
While we're at it, and since she mentioned about the silent key, there's another silent key. I don't know if you all knew him. He was Bill Chin. He was a member of the Cathay Amateur Radio Club. They're having a funeral for him on August 20th. It will be on YouTube. I just got the word from the Cathay Amateur Radio Club early this morning, about 1:30 something this morning, and they will be airing his funeral on YouTube. Bill Chin was a valuable member of the Cathay Amateur Radio Club. His call was Kilo Charlie 6, Papa Oscar Foxtrot. So,
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah.
He is on Facebook.
oh.
Well, Ron, I'm going to ask you to improvise because I don't expect at this point that he would call in. unless he happens to show up, and I'll keep my eye out on the gallery for him.
Okay, well, let's see. I mentioned going in that in October, the first weekend of October is the California QSO party. I am wearing my t-shirt. You can kind of see the state of California on it, and it's got all the counties. There are 58 California counties. Turns out there are 8 provinces in Canada, and of course 50 states in the United States. So during California QSO party, we in California are looking for all 50 states and 8 provinces. We get a multiplier on our score for each state and province we get. They get a multiplier on their score for each California county that they get. If you go to cqp.org, what the heck, I can just go ahead and type that into the screen so people can look it up. If you go to cqp.org, there is basically everything you want to know about the California QSO party. And on my personal website, I'll type that one in as well, wq6x.info/CQP. It's kind of out of date. I haven't added things recently, but there are pictures and information about CQP. The idea of CQP is to activate the California counties. Virtually every state or area of the US has a QSO party sometime in the year. In the first weekend of May, the 7th call sign area holds their QSO party. So all the 7th area states are on. I operated remote with November X-ray 6 Tango in Anza. And as a team, we took first place for outside the 7th call area. Back in 2016, by accident, I was screwing around in the 7th area QSO party. I submitted a log and they sent me the first place plaque, which was a shock because I didn't think I did all that good. But that brings up a point I write about in my blogs, which is if you engage in a radio sport contest, I don't care if you made 1 contact, send in a log, submit a log, because if nobody else in your area submits a valid log or they get disqualified for some reason, you become the winner. And I think that's what happened in 2016. Now, since 2016, I haven't stood a chance. That's because people woke up and realized that they just handed me that plaque. I shouldn't have won it. It does happen. So QSO parties are fun because if you're a county hunter, there's an award. I believe it's issued by CQ Magazine. It's the County Hunters Award. And there are, 2,000 and something counties, I forget. It's a lot of counties throughout the United States. And there are people that have worked all United States counties, and they give an award for that. So the California QSO party for us allows us to give counties out to people that are looking for them. If you look way up here, you can see where my finger is, kind of. It's at the northeast end of the state is Modoc County. Most people have never even heard of Modoc County. I hadn't until 2010, 2012, and 2013. I made an expedition up there with November 6 George Echo Oscar in 6 GEO. We did 3 expeditions from Modoc, and from Bend, Oregon, every year, there is a group that takes the drive and they go to the northeastern side of Modoc County, they have access to an old ranger station. And they take over the ranger station. They bring in a barbecue. You'd love that. You'd love this, Donna. They bring in the biggest barbecue I've ever seen in my life. And they barbecue food for their people. And of course, they always win the high power category for Modoc County. But that's the idea. It's to activate counties. For last year, I looked on the all-time high score list and I saw that Alameda County, from a multi-operator standpoint, had a very low score. And my goal was for us as a club to create that high score. And as a matter of fact, can you silence, because the noises are kind of weird. We did accomplish beating the high score. Unfortunately, a group decided to set up an operation on a mountaintop overlooking Alameda County, and they killed it. They submitted a 200,000 point score, and it's going to be the all-time high score probably forever. I was hoping we could slip in under the radar. We were a year late. So what I want to see us do as a club again, just so you know, our club call sign, Kilowatt 6 Quebec London Foxtrot. QLF is a pseudo Q code, which means he sends with his left foot. LF stands for left foot. It's another way of saying you're a lousy operator. So if anybody ever uses the letters QLF in regard to you, they're not being nice about it.
It's prejudice against left-handed people. So
Oh, well, there you go too. But it's a left foot, you see, not a left hand, it's a left foot. Although it turns out there is a group, I don't remember their name, but I just read about them recently, and they get on once a year and they actually have a Morse code little party of their own, and they send with their left foot. They get a hand key out and they send with their left foot, just to say that they did it, basically. So what's good about California QSO Party is it doesn't matter whether you're a CW operator or a phone operator, both modes are active, and we look to keep both modes active. And you women, there's several women in this group today, you women give us a secret weapon. It's called your voice. Your voice will get them lining up on the frequency to call in. Now, some of you know I have a motto: when in doubt, cheat, but within the rules. One year, I ran the ARRL 10 meter contest in December, and in fact, I ran it. Oh, there's Mr. Tim Duffy. I'll wrap this up real quick. I ran that contest from this location. We had visitors for dinner, my friend Kathy, and I wanted to be a multi-operator setup, so I needed somebody to make one contact outside of me. And my friend Kathy did that. That qualified as a multi-operator. Then I recorded her voice in the voice keyer memories of my ICOM 7000 radio over here. And I ran the rest of the contest with her voice. When somebody asked me a question that I had to answer with my voice, I answered with my voice, and he said, "Hey, where's the YL, man? You cheated us." But I did get a first place multi-operator for the 10 meter contest that year. And that's why you women are so important. And now I want to move on to Tim Duffy, because Tim, we've never met, but your call sign is in hundreds of my logs from contests. So I know a little bit about who you are. And as club president, I get to welcome you. Boy, I love the background. You've got wallpaper, to say the least. One of the things, if you have a moment this morning and you would share with us, is your work with younger operators. One of our proteges from November X-Ray 6 Tango, the group that I work with, K6 Japan Oscar, I saw a picture of him at your location with a lot of other younger people, and you were giving them their start in radio contesting. I think that's so cool, because we're all old here and we got to bring in the new blood, and they're actually teaching us how to do it. And you already know that. So without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Tim Duffy. I don't know what you're going to tell us today, but I know it's going to be great. So please, would you take the helm and put us on the air?
Well, thank you so much, Ron. Thanks for the great introduction. And thanks very much for the kind invitation to talk to the club today. Ron, the scheduled presentation was the antenna building presentation, but it sounds like maybe you want the K3LR station presentation. Is that right?
That would be okay. Sure, why not?
All right. And you also, I think Ron asked for an update on my work over in Europe relative to Ukraine.
Yes, that's something that would very much interest us as well.
All right, let me just queue up things, and then if Ron, if you or somebody could give me the ability to do screen sharing, that would be great.
Whoever our host is can do that.
Can you screen now? Share the screen now?
Let me check here real quick.
I think that you can. All participants can.
Okay, let me check. Yes, I can. Good. All right, Ron, and thanks so much for getting that all hooked up for me there. We'll start with the K3LR station presentation, which includes a segment about the youth that operated here, including K6JO, and then we'll go into the Ukraine presentation. Is that okay?
Right.
All right, great. Here we go. I want to preface this by telling you that when you see this K3LR presentation, there are 170 slides. Don't worry. It will be the fastest 30 minutes of your life. Do not worry. I've given this enough times, and it's going to roll by fast, but I know you guys are recording. So if you want to go back and review, you can do that. But there's a lot to tell you about this great station here. So with that, I'm going to share my screen, and we have to do a little bit of wrangling here with what is going on with our friends from Zoom, but we'll get there. Let me know if you see my screen okay.
Yep, now we got it.
Okay, great. So we're going to talk about the station that I'm sitting at right now. This is not a green screen or something like that. This is the real deal here in Western Pennsylvania, where it's 12:30 p.m. And this is a station I started building in 1987. So it's coming up on 40 years now. So what you're going to see today is a cumulative work product of almost 40 years worth of building a station. And we've been doing multi contesting out of here since 1992. So we're coming up on our 30th anniversary of doing that. What does multi mean? Multi means multi-operators in multiple transmitters. So simultaneous transmitters with multiple operators. And so it's a very challenging category in the world of amateur radio contesting. And so this is not quite the beginning, but this is very close. I got licensed when I was 12 years old. This photo is when I was 13 and I had just passed my general license. And so the great thing about back in the 70s, the early 70s, is you had to learn CW to get a license and also to advance. And CW is my first language. I'm on CW every day. And and what's great is a lot of the QSL cards that you see above my head, lots of those guys are still around 50 years later, which is very cool. But this was in my boyhood bedroom, and I was fortunate enough to have a tri-bander on the roof and work the world on CW. So this station, K3LR, is 65 miles northwest of Pittsburgh. It's also about the same distance to Erie, to Cleveland, and to Akron, Ohio. You might, after this presentation is done, take a look at the website, k3lr.com. You will find lots of drone videos of the towers, lots of photos of contest operations for the last 30 years, some great hints and tips in the engineering section. So there's lots of things on the k3lr.com website. And so we're right on the Ohio-Pennsylvania border. If you've ever driven on Interstate 80 across Ohio and Pennsylvania, when you come into Pennsylvania, it's very easy to see the 13 towers that are here that are part of the K3LR station. And the reason that this QTH is so successful is there's a very large drop-off in terrain going towards Europe and Japan. And that gives us quite an advantage going in those two directions, especially towards Europe, where over 70% of our contacts in a DX contest come from. And so having that advantage is very, very critical to the success of this station. And taking a look overhead at some of the antennas and towers, you can see in the middle of this photo, these are two 4 squares, one 4 square, and then the second 4 square for 80 meters. And so there's 2 4 squares that are phased together on 80. This is the 160 meter transmit array. We'll talk more about that. And then it doesn't look like it's a tall tower or a busy tower, but this is a very large tower that supports 40, 20, 10 meters, etc. And then in the center where the house is, 15 meters, a big 4 high stack and a 4 high stack on 10 meters, and then the large 20 meter tower. So back to that 40 meter tower that we talked about a minute ago, there are 3 full-size 4-element 40 meter Yagis, 1, 2, 3, and 260 over 190 over 120 feet. This is the largest 40 meter antenna array in the world. And notice that all the antennas that are on the sides of the tower are on ring rotators. That allows them to rotate around the face of the tower. All of the guy wires are Philly strand, so they're all non-conductive guy wires. Here's a big long 10 meter antenna at the top, and there's 138 square feet of wind load on this one Pyrod tower, very strong. And another view of the Pyrod tower from my neighbor's house. So you know that it's a thing of beauty for me, but I've got some very understanding neighbors. And just to give you try to give you some idea of the size of these antennas, they're huge. The reflectors are 75 feet long. They weigh 410 pounds. The 3 4-element 40 meter Yagis, and Interstate 80 is in the background here. And 10 meter antennas on the same tower, and also a receiving antenna for 160 meters. This is actually fiberglass here, and there's wire in the fiberglass, and then there's actually wire that goes between the fiberglass. So there's 2 of these loops together. And if we could have Dan KG6YZF mute, that would be helpful. Everybody mute that. And so we got two of these rectangles together, and that provides for a directive antenna for 160 meters. And so it's on a ring rotator, so it can be rotated around the tower. Sometimes that's the best 160 receive antenna. And taking a look up the busy 40-meter tower, you can see just lots going on here. The 20-meter tower, also a tall tower, also has the largest 20-meter array in the world, 4 6-element Yagis stacked up. So here's the top one, 6-element 20-meter beam, and then there are 3 more below this, as well as an 80-meter dipole at 245 feet. And another shot of the bottom of the 20-meter tower. And in the middle of the 20-meter tower are 2 Moxons for 40 meters, designed by Dave Leeson, W6NL, and a Stanford professor, and very smart guy. And these are Moxon 2-element Yagis for 40 meters. And they work very well, even though they're only 46 feet long physical length. Electrically, they perform extremely well. So here's one of the Moxons, and here's the second Moxon here. And looking up at the 20-meter tower, again, very busy, lots going on. 10 meters, these are 8-element Yagis, and there's 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, and then 4 down here. And so 32 elements on 10 meters. Going to 15 meters, these are 7-element Yagis. So 1, 2, 3, 4 of these 7-element Yagis on 15 meters. And notice the first director is very close to the driven element. This is known as an optimized wideband array, which was invented by WA3FET at Penn State University, as also the university I graduated from. And what this does is it drives the feed point impedance right to 50 ohms, and it stays very close to 50 ohms across the entire band. And there's a 10-element 6-meter beam on top that is basically I use for finding noise. It's very directive, and finding noise is very important to the success of the contest station. And so, but also during sporadic E season, it's fun to have, I mean, this antenna is at 175 feet. Back in 2018, we had an unfortunate experience where a guy anchor was taken out by a drunk driver. So we had to replace the 20-meter tower. This is the old tower that was under duress and had to be taken down. And this is the new tower here, the shiny white and orange. And you've got 100-ton crane in to do the work, and the crane's in place. And now we're stacking the new tower. You can see the ring rotators are in place for the antennas when they come back up. The top of the new 20-meter tower, this is the DX Engineering TB400 thrust bearing. It's a very good thrust bearing. Notice the legs on the Pyrod tower are solid steel. This is a very, these are commercial towers. All of the towers at K3LR are Pyrod, and very strong, extremely strong towers. And here's 2 out of the 4 6-element 20-meter Yagis getting ready to go in place. New antennas, replacement antennas, and the top 6-element 20 going into place. Notice again, the first director is very, very close to the driven element. And the 6-element Yagi up now on top of the tower crew hooking everything up. These are steps that allow us to climb up to the top of the mast where the 80-meter dipole lives. And we're able to do FaceTime and see the Rig Expert plot of the VSWR right from the top of the tower. And back to the 40-meter Yagis, these big 40-meter Yagis. This is the driven element feed point. And so what's very nice about this is the center conductor goes on one side, and we always put it on the right side, right on red. And so here's where the center conductor goes, and the shield goes over here on the left. But 1-inch thick Garolite, very heavy duty construction. And you can see that first director again, very close to the driven element. And you can see the trucks going by on Interstate 80. The 4-element 40, only a sag of about 30 inches, which is quite good for these very long elements on 40 meters. And brought the crane back in to do some work. Back in 2019, we actually we were able to enhance the mechanical and electrical designs. And so all 3 Yagis were replaced with the help of the 100-ton crane. And here's the top 4-element 40 going into place. And love the Geochrons. We have the largest TV in the house is the Geochron. We have 2 of the digitals here and 2 of the analogs here. So an 84-inch 4K Ultra TV for the Geochron down here in the shack. We use very large feed lines to keep losses low, and the 160-meter transmit antenna, and we do receive on this. It's 120 feet of Pyrod tower, and around it, it has 4 parasitic wires. They're T's that are that come off the top of the tower, and it's configured so that this is a 3-element vertical Yagi that can be pointed in 4 directions. In this case, the right-hand element here is a director towards Europe, and so that when you ground that to a radio field, you get a director, and then the left-hand yellow element is a reflector and a little inductor in series with that to cause it to go lower in frequency, and then it has a radio field, and the 2 side elements are floated by using relays at the bottom of each one of these elements. And here's the bottom of the element showing the relay box and the radio field. We can point this in 4 different directions, and it achieves over 5 dB of gain with 32 dB of front to back. And here is the bottom of the tower for 160 with the broadcast style ceramic insulator, 300 radials underneath. And it's a long way away from the shack, about 1,800 feet of 1 5/8 to feed the 160-meter transmit array. The 80-meter verticals are here. And so this shows the 80-meter, one of the 80-meter verticals, which is, there are 8 of these towers, and showing the broadcast style ground system, and the 4 center towers. These 2 belong to one 4 square, these 2 belong to the other 4 square, and showing all of the strap and everything it takes to put this together. Recently, here's Interstate 80 again. Recently, we replaced the steel towers with aluminum towers that are all welded together. So this is 60 feet of tower, aluminum tower, all welded together. And here we are putting the towers in place. And we also have a 2-inch piece of aluminum up here that allows us to tune this perfectly to the right resonant frequency. And the aluminum tower is in place. Everything is welded together. So the sections are not just bolted together, they're welded together. And here's the DX Engineering insulators for the verticals. And here's showing one of the 4 squares, the 4 towers with the stingers on top, and adjusting the stingers for the right resonant frequency using a Rig Expert and AEA VNAs. And the Comtech Systems 4 square box is what we use to rotate these things in 4 directions electrically. And we also have a 4 square on 20 meters. Here's a 4 square for 15 meters. And for receiving on 80 and 160, we use the High Z 8 circle array. We also have a High Z 4 square array. Here's 8 23-foot verticals assembled in a circle. You can see here's 2 verticals here, 1, 2, they're 23 feet tall. And this is the center control center. And inside are hybrid combiners and delay lines and splitters that allow us to rotate this in 8 different azimuths, 0, 45, 90, 135, etc., using high common mode impedance chokes to make sure the feed lines stay very cold and just do their job. Here I am tuning up the high Z system with my good friend Tim, W3YQ. We met as kids on 80 meters. We've been best friends ever since. And all the cabling for the high Z system for the 8 circle. The bottom of these 23-foot verticals, you can see here's the control box and the bottom showing the insulator, and just 2 ground rods is all it takes to do this. Inside the control box is a buffer amplifier along with 2 chokes, one for the power, P, and one for the signal, S. And these are the buffer amplifiers for the 4 square and the 8 circle here. Inside the high common mode impedance choke is number 31 ferrite, 26 turns of small 75 ohm coax. Develops over 10,000 ohms of common mode impedance. The house at K3LR was built in 1865. And since I've owned it, I've fully restored it inside and out. Remember, this house was built before there was electricity invented. There was no running water inside the house. There was no air conditioning. And of course, there was no world-class amateur radio station. But all those things are here now. This is our 50 kilowatt transformer from the Pennsylvania Power Company. And we are the only user of this. If that fails, we have our 50 kilowatt Kohler generator that comes online 7 seconds after a power outage. It is an 8-cylinder Chevy engine, natural gas powered, and takes care of all of our emergency power needs. This is the shack at K3LR, 11 operating positions. So there are 11 radios online, 11 amplifiers, 11 computers for logging, etc. Here you can see the stations on 80 meters. There's 1 station for search and pounce, 1 station for CQing. So it takes 2 operators on every band, except for 160. This is the 160 meter station. We only have 1 set up on 160, but all the other bands have 2. Here you can see one of the analog geochrons. And here's cable entrances to the southeast. This is the cable entrance there. All the hard lines and control cables come in underground. The northeast, everything is cataloged and logged, so we know where everything is going. And ground rods in the floor, there are 13 of them. And here's one. You can see the CAD weld on top of the ground rod, and the number 2 solid copper tinned that provides the ground bus. Operators having fun in a contest here at K3LR. Ward N0CX, or N0AX, who is the author of the ARL handbook and antenna book, and operators on SSB on 15 meters. So here's the run operator here, called CQ. Here's the search and pounce operator, N6MJ, from Los Angeles, California, one of the best operators in the world. These guys had back-to-back 340 hours to Europe back in 2017. And 10 meters, we use all green heron rotor controls here. So you can see the 4 rotators it takes to the second station on 10 meters. And here's the run amplifier, the second station amplifier, the antenna switch locations, etc. We have custom designed switch boxes for our switching. We talked about that 3 high stack on 40 meters at 260 over 190 over 120. So the operator is selected to send 33% of the power into each one of these, and he's feeding all 3. Here's the box for 15 meters. It's a 4 high stack. And the operators have to work together. Here's N6TV from San Jose, California. And David, N6AM from Los Angeles, California. These 2 guys are 15 CW team in CQ Worldwide. They have to work together because they can only have 1 transmitter of these 2 on the air at once. And there is a lockout box that makes sure that that happens. They've selected to just feed the bottom 3 antennas known as bot 3, 120 over 80 over 40. And here's the heads up display, 120 over 80 over 40. I love the Drake W4 watt meters, but after 50 years worth of service, needed new SO239s. Here's the rotor stack on the 40 meter stack of 3 high, 260 over 190 over 120. Size does matter. This is an exceptional antenna array. Just a view of one of the single band amplifiers. These are all homebrew, my design amplifiers. Single 8877. We run 1500 watts output. They do not have a band switch, so it makes it very easy to make these amplifiers work. 4,000 volt power supply, and so that's what it takes for each amplifier. And the run station on 20 meters, showing the 4 rotor boxes for the 4 high stack, 7851, and of course, single band amplifier. So side by side here on 20 meters with the 7850 now in place, and a single band amplifier. And then the second station, the search and pound station, is over here. He has a 2 high stack and of course his own amplifier, computer, etc. 10 meters. Over here is the run station calling CQ. Second station over here. These guys have had a lot of time on their hands, but it's going to be busy this fall as we get sunspots. 160 meters, lots of electronics here, lots going on 160. I operate in the DX contest, I operate 160 CW. And on phone, John N2NC takes care of things in the DX contests. Here's the control for that horizontal Waller flag. We also use the DX Engineering noise canceling controller. Very unique design, allows us to combine a receive antenna on port A and a different antenna on port B to get even improved performance. The DX Engineering noise canceling controller. We use the Bose QC15 headsets. That's active noise canceling. That's very important in a multi-operator situation. All of the radios here are the ICOM IC7851, and it is ICOM's best radio, and we have never had a problem during a contest with the 7851. Here's Al on 75 meters, N5UM, very good friend of mine. We operate 75 meters together on phone, and Al taking a little nap at 4 o'clock in the morning, but it's okay. Once the JAs come in, he'll get back up. And now we've replaced all those big desktop computers with the Intel NUC, that's NUC. It's a 13.8 volt computer, full Windows, has sound card, solid state hard drive, and they're RFI quiet. So very good use of space, 4 inches by 4 inches by about 1.5 inches thick. And the you can see here the NUC computer on 20 meters on the back of the monitor there. And for sharing those 2 foursquares between the 2 80-meter stations, we have a custom designed 80-meter XL twin turbo +2, and that is on the that allows very quick switching between the 2 80-meter stations. And for beating down the harmonics, these are 2 of the filters for 80 meters, very high power harmonic filters. And when operators aren't operating, they're hanging out at the DX barn, and that's DX gas. Back in the 60s, very popular in the Midwest. And inside we have great accommodations, restrooms, showers, and sleeping for 8 upstairs, including my QSL card collection of over 100,000 QSL cards back there. So very nice sleeping accommodations. Operators having fun during the contests. VE3EJ, N2NT from New Jersey, K1AR from New Hampshire. Our operator team comes from all over the world. Operators, again, trying to take a little nap in when they can. And using the foot switch on SSB. Here's our lockout box between the run and the mult station. And this tells the multiplier operator or the second station operator the status of the run station. If this LED is off, he's okay to transmit. That LED is on, he's going to get locked out because the run guy is transmitting. And here's the second station on 20 meters. He has a stack 150 feet over 100 feet, and he's selected both in phase, BIP. He can also put them out of phase, both out of phase, and also control of his receiving foursquare. We try to have a lot of fun here. We're very serious about winning these contests, but part of it is having a good time. And NP4G from Puerto Rico, who likes to come in March for the ARRL phone contest. And these guys have a lot of fun and they do very, very well. It's nice to have an operator that can speak Portuguese, Spanish, and English. And here's Justin, G4TSH from London, operating with Phil, K3UA. Justin likes to come over for the CQ Worldwide contest. And here are all 11 positions. Almost all of them are manned. These two are on 40 meters, W2RQ and N2NC. The two guys on 80 meters, two guys on 20 meters, two guys on 10 meters, only N6AN on 15, and then K3LR sitting here on 160. Ron asked for a little comment about youth. This is during the 2019 CQ Worldwide WPX phone contest. We had 6 youth operators here. This is Kat, KM4ATT, operating on, it's Violetta, operating on 20 meters, along with Bryant, KG5HVO on 20. And here's K6JO from San Diego, operating on 40 meters with VE7DZO from British Columbia. And so we had 6 operators here. They're filling out thank you cards. They raised over $5,000 on the GoFundMe page to defray their expenses of coming to K3LR. And here's the whole team. Nobody over the age of 21. Also HA8RT from Hungary, and Marty, NN1C. Marty had figured out if they could work 3,700 contacts in the weekend in the multi-2 category, they would do very well. At the end of 48 hours, all the contacts were made by the kids. So these 6 operators had not, many of them had never met each other before, let alone operated with each other. After 48 hours, they had worked over 6,000 contacts. They were #1 in the US, #1 in North America, and #4 in the world. And congratulations to each one of them. We also host K2M during the 13 Colonies event. Here's young Michael, W3MLJ, running 20 phone. He's been doing that for about 5 years here. And they typically operate one day and make almost 3,000 QSOs here at K3LR. We have visitors from all over the world. Here's one from Finland. Here's Riley, K4ZDH, formerly with the FCC, and Hal, W8HC, who's on his way to Kiska Island up in Alaska right now, a famous de-expeditioner visiting K3LR. We also keep lots of statistics and we analyze them, how we did against our competition and how we did against ourselves, how many QSOs and multipliers for every year. We also contribute to the reverse beacon network. These are software-defined radios, receivers, and then a companion computer for each one of them. We've recently replaced that big computer stack with Intel NUCs. And so now this has replaced all that. And here are the 6 SDR receivers, one for each band, 160 through 10, and lots of RFI filtering to make sure that everything stays noise-free. We have S0 noise levels here at K3LR using analog power supplies. There are no wall warts, there are no iPhone chargers. Everything is an analog linear power supply here. Coffee, we make it 1 cup at a time, thanks to Flavia. And here's a typical snack table for 48 hours and 12 to 13 operators. We have our chef, Sal, WM2H from Houston, Texas, and he's getting ready to put a filet mignon in the smoker. And he likes to smoke and get all the operators well fed. And we're very, very proud to have Sal as our chef. And the 160 meter operators are responsible for making breakfast. And so breakfast is made to order, and then the operators eat while they operate. And so we use WindTest as our logging software. It's written by French rocket scientists who are great, and we've been using that since 2006, and keeps track of our score. Here's a nice score from a few years ago when 10 meters was wide open, 3,200 QSOs during the CQ Worldwide in 170 countries. We had almost 13,000 contacts for a weekend. I'm a voracious QSLer. Every DX station we work, it's a QSL card. And I also like to have t-shirts, Team K3LR and CW. And after the contest is over, we trade scores with other multi stations on 3830. Sometimes we win a plaque. We also compete in RTTY contests. This is a typical crew, ILTHRS. I love this ham radio stuff. And here's Sal with his girlfriend, Liv, and she served as the sous chef that weekend. But this is the commitment it takes. And here's a good looking group, CW group, N6MJ from California, N6TV from California, and 6AN from California. So lots of California representation. Another good group in 2018 here at K3LR. And the real reason we do it, we're best friends. And I'm very proud that I open this station up almost every weekend for a tour. We'll have 20 tours every year. This is the University of Pittsburgh Pick Panther Amateur Radio Club, W3YI. They came up with their advisor. We spent a whole day here at K3LR touring, talking about antennas, talking about ham radio, talking about studying for college tests, and talking about life after college as well. And so that is my presentation. And I am available for questions on this one before we get into the Ukrainian one.
I have one quick question. You answered a question that I had, which is, with so many computers, how do you keep the junk out? And you mentioned something I've never heard of before, the Intel NUC.
Yeah, you can Google that, and it's very easy to, they're available all over the place.
Okay, well, that's good to know. And it's good to hear that you're running analog power supplies. That's awesome. That was an awesome presentation. For me, being a contester, and I run with NX6T, I've always wondered what it looks like when we talk to you guys, and now I know a little bit about it.
There you go.
Does anybody else have questions for Tim?
That was an amazing presentation. I have never in my life seen anybody with that many antennas, and it must be a sight to behold for the folks driving across the interstate.
It is, you know, every time there's any sort of accident close to here, I just pray to God it's not a ham that was gawking at the antennas.
Yeah. So I also have a Intel NUC, but I have a laptop. What advantages other than just footprint? Why did you switch over?
Well, a couple of reasons. Footprint was one of them. The fact that we could run these things on 13.8 volts, they were more RFI quiet than the big guys. But that's space, and these things are much more reliable. I mean, you know, there's life cycles of computers, right? And so when these, we've probably been running the NUCs for about 5 years now, and they are ultra reliable, just really good.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that presentation. It was really wonderful and enlightening.
Thank you. Any other questions before we go to Ukraine?
Let's
All right,
go to
Ron,
Ukraine.
I think we're ready to go to Ukraine.
Let's go to Ukraine.
Okay, Ron, do you see my screen?
See, we see your screen. Great.
Okay, super. This is
DM9EE.
yes, this is Karsten, DM9EE. He lives in Holzminden, Germany, and he's a very tall guy, as you can see, and inside this guy is a heart that is as big as he is tall. He's got a big heart, and he is committed to helping the people of Ukraine. I want to tell a little bit about my association with Karsten. And so Karsten decided early on when the Ukrainian war hit, I happened to be over there in March, so the war started in February. And so he decided that he wanted to make sure that the hams in Ukraine had equipment so that they would be able to talk to each other. So he put out a notice on Facebook and asked all the hams in Germany to donate equipment. And then he would see that it got fixed if it needed repaired and sent over to Ukraine. And he would take it himself over through Poland. So you go from Germany into Poland, and then of course, right to the border of Ukraine. And so the hams in Germany were very, very generous. And so all this equipment came in that was repackaged and checked out and then sent over to Ukraine for the Ukrainian amateur radio operators. And here you can see some of the transceivers that, and I tried to help him package these things, and he has taken several van loads over to Ukraine. Just an incredible amount of equipment, but it makes your heart feel good when you're doing things like this to help the people of Ukraine. And he runs a hotel and a restaurant, and here was one of the hotel plates, and notice the colors of the napkin here, the Ukrainian flag. So he's all in on this. and so it was found that there was somebody from Belarus had brought a lot of Ukrainians down into Germany and put them in an office building with I think there were at that time 50 Ukrainians that were refugees that were in the office building. They had one restroom and they were sleeping on the floor. And Karsten said, I have a hotel, bring 25 of them over to my hotel and they can stay here. And so this is Katerina. She is one of the long standing, she's still in the hotel in Germany, but she's now learned German and getting a job and has been successfully relocated to Germany for the time being. Every one of the Ukrainians that I talk to, as soon as this war is over, they want to go home. And but amateur radio is a big part of this. Here's Katya. She broke her arm in Ukraine and had to have a broken arm. They would not repair it in Ukraine. It did not get repaired until she got to Germany. And so there are lots of stories like this. And she is the daughter of a Ukrainian amateur radio operator. And so I shipped over some equipment to Germany to help in this effort, some coax from DX Engineering. We are able to ship from Ohio into Germany in 2 days. And so we were able to get equipment over to help the Ukrainian experience. And here is the Red Cross from Germany, bringing more refugees to Karsten's hotel. And here you can see these 25 refugees that were sleeping on the floor. Karsten says, sit down, have a good meal. And I'll tell you, I cried like a baby when I saw this stuff going on. And the Ukrainians one day made some Ukrainian stew. So they took over the kitchen, and that was a very special dinner. And helping them, they have nothing. So we went to the drugstore and got toiletries and everything that they needed, just to make sure that they were as comfortable as possible. And then Karsten went back out to Facebook and said, hey, we need coats, we need clothes. And people from all around Germany brought them to the hotel so the Ukrainians could have clothes. And here's one of the areas in the hotel where he holds banquets, but he was taking care of the refugees. And just a real sight to see. When you go to Karsten's hotel, because he's a ham, his ham shack, your key to your room also gets you into the ham shack. So it's he's got a very, very nice station as well. And he calls it the DX Hotel. And these are some of the displays that he has out in the front lobby of the hotel in Holtzminton. And Delta Mike 9 Echo Echo, really good guy. His wine cellar, the front door to his hotel, and the hotel. And here I am. This was in March, and on the right is DL1QQ, and Katerina and myself, and of course Karsten, DM9EE. So there's lots of opportunities to help refugees, and DM9EE has a GoFundMe site as well. And I'll be going back over in a few weeks to help out some more. That's how I plan to spend my summer vacation, is helping the Ukrainian refugees that are in Germany. So, and I think that your original presentation was supposed to occur back in March when I was in Germany. So I apologize. I had done a couple of them, but it was like 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning when you take into account the time difference. So I really appreciate you accommodating me, and that I got to do this presentation today. Back to you, Ron.
Well, actually, we really appreciate you accommodating us, because you have a busy schedule. Not that we don't, but you have a uniquely busy schedule, and that you took the time today to share with us your world. I know a little bit about your world because I'm a rabbit contester, but I think the other club members, I'm trying to introduce them to contesting. That's why we're trying to get a California QSO party group together again this year. And now when they see this, your station represents top of the line. This is what we all aspire for. But you started very beginning, very basic, and you added to it over time. And I think that's what we can do here. It certainly is inspiring to see that people can come together as a team. The Amateur Radio Club of Alameda people have come together for field day and for CERT events, so they know about camaraderie. And you showed us today that you can take it to a level and really, and have fun doing it, because if it isn't fun, there's no point in it. So thank you, Tim. You shared with us the fun, and you also shared that ham radio. People say to me, non-hams say, ham radio, isn't that obsolete? We have cell phones and internet. And my response is, yeah, but the governments can shut off your cell phones and internet anytime they want to. They can't shut off my ham radio. They got to find me first. Now, your station, everybody knows where it is, so they could probably pull the plug down the road. But as a matter of fact, we contribute to the health and well-being of the world. And your little brief statement on Ukraine and showing us the youth work is an example of what we as hams can all aspire to. So thank you, Tim. Really appreciate it. Does anybody else in the club, do they have any questions or comments they'd like to make?
Let's
Yes.
see. Eve there.
Hi there. I have a
Hi.
question about ham radio in Ukraine. I heard, and I can't remember where or whether it was from an authoritative source, that the use of ham radio in that wartime situation was being discouraged. And I don't know anything about that. Have you heard anything like that?
Yeah, you're right, Eve. At the beginning, at the start of the war, there was a 30-day moratorium where the FCC equivalent in Ukraine had asked amateur radio operators not to use the radios. That has since expired, and there was no renewal to that. I have worked several stations in Ukraine since then, and the ability for them to communicate from Ukraine amongst themselves is vital to their survival. Because as you have seen on TV, when these towns and cities get blown up, it's like Ron was saying, you know, what's the first thing that screws up? The cell phone network. And so this hobby is critical to survival over there, and it's never been more popular. And you know, so we continue to get equipment over there. I helped in March. I helped raise $30,000 for Karsten to do his work, and he has been doing God's work. I mean, it's just incredible, and I can't wait to get back over there and help him do more.
Okay, thank you.
Tim, do you have a sense of what type of information is being communicated through ham in Ukraine?
Yeah, a lot of it, that's a great question. A lot of it is health and welfare. You know, are you okay? I'm okay, that kind of thing. And also, you know, they don't get a lot of information about what's going on. And some of the information out there being projected from Russia is not correct. And so, yeah, there's, but most of it is health and welfare.
Didn't the BBC start beaming broadcasts into Ukraine? I was thinking of turning on an SDR in Europe to hear it, but it doesn't. Isn't that helping them a little bit?
I think it is. You know, and unless you know the Ukrainian language, it might be a little tough. But the great thing is, a lot of the Ukrainians that I met that were refugees in Germany, their English was quite good. So, you know, Ukraine is a fascinating country with great people, and it's a real shame what's going on. And so if you have an opportunity, like I did, to help, especially Ukrainian amateur radio operators, please take advantage of that.
Tim, do you know if there are any repeaters inside Ukraine that are either active or being taken down? What considerations are being made in terms of antennas for this type of scenario would be best?
Yeah, I don't have any information on that, but when I'm over there, here in a few weeks, I will see if I can learn about that.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Sounds like we're good.
All right. Well, Ron, thanks so much for having me today. It's been a real pleasure to talk to the club. To those of you who are DX Engineering customers, thank you so much for your business and your trust. We do ship one-day ground service to most of California out of our warehouse in Sparks, Nevada. So we have a big inventory position there. And you can also do pickups if you want to drive to Sparks. It's inside the Summit Racing Superstore in Sparks, Nevada. And of course, we have Talmadge. And to those of you who have never tried DX Engineering, give us a shot. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised how well it goes. And if you have a problem, you now know the CEO. So don't be afraid to use it. Thank you, Ron.
Okay.
Thank you very much for
Let
coming.
me second that. I've bought a couple of things from DX Engineering. I've been really pleased. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much for your comments, Gene.
Well, thank you, Tim. You've given us an upbeat presentation this morning, and the fact that you could take your time out and share with us the big side of amateur radio has been really appreciated. Maybe one day we can come back, have you come back. And if you ever need speakers for any of your clubs in the East Coast area, people here from the Amateur Radio Club of Alameda can possibly accommodate that. Thank you very much. I'm going to turn things back to our secretary to wrap this up. And again, the California Historical Radio Society in Alameda is holding their radio day. When I leave here, I'm going to Alameda to hang out with the California Historical Radio Society. By the way, they are an organization worth supporting because they have a little museum there on Central Avenue in Alameda, and the old time radio and television stuff that is there will blow your mind. So I recommend you go check it out. They have a chrs.org, I think, is their website, or just type in California Historical Radio Society. Take it away, Donna.
73, everybody.
73.
Thank you, Tim, for talking with us. So next month we're going to have Ed Fong talk about antennas, I believe. So I'll be sending out a reminder email. Thank you, everybody, for attending this month's ARCA meeting. Have a great Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Great program. Thanks, Donna.
Thank you, Donna.
Great program. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank